So you're trotting along World's Edge, and you stumble upon something beautiful. A Jibby Pinata, suspended miraculously in the air. But now the question is, what's the best gun to smack 'em with? What are the best guns to run in ranked? What are just, the best guns? Those are all really good questions. But most importantly, we need to smack this Jibby Pinata, because he's just up there, and he's thick, and we need this kill. So, you guys are officially at the Season 9 weapon tier list. Remember to drop a like and subscribe if you guys enjoy this. And stay tuned through the whole video so you get the answer to what's the best gun to smack the Jibby with. And with that, let's get right into this guide. Bang! So quickly, as we get started with this list, let me just say that I'm going to exclude the care package weapons, obviously, because we know they're all S tier. And then I'm just going to really go through the guns. And then until we get to really the B tier weapons, which are the, ones that are usable, I'm really just going to name them. There's no need for me to tell you guys why guns are bad. We all know they're bad. So, let's get started. The only gun I believe is F tier is going to be the P2020. Self-explanatory, guys. Now, let's move on to D tier. D tier has the Mozambique or the Mozam Cheeks. Regardless, it's still bad. Now, let's move on to C tier. C tier. Longbow. Then we're going to have the pair of the Havoc with no turbocharger. Devotion with no turbocharger. The L-Star, RE45, 30-30 repeater. The only thing I'll say about the L-Star is that it is very cheap, so in arenas, it's actually pretty strong. But when it comes to just in general being a good gun, still not that great. So, just wanted to put that one in there. Next tier up is the B tier. B tier. Let's start off with the new weapon, the Bocek bow. Or the Bocek. Or the flying arrows that give you PTSD and keep you up all night. The Bocek. So, came in extremely strong. We all knew it was going to get nerfed really quickly. It's a good still long range weapon. Or medium range. Does still a lot of damage. It's very hard to know where they're firing at you from. And it's good for just putting pressure on the team. But after the nerf, its damage is going down. And its fire rate still being, not super duper fast, and it needing those hop-ups is why I think it's just a B tier, but it's still a very good gun. Now let's move on to a gun that we all finally got back, the PK, the Peacekeeper. Peacekeeper is still a very strong shotgun. Personally, it's in B tier right now because it has not felt the same since it came back. I don't know what it is, it just doesn't feel the same. Like, my shots are just not hitting, and I've been very demoralized and disappointed with how it's been back. I don't know, it's just not hitting for me. B tier, it's still very strong. Maybe as the season progresses, next season progresses, we'll all start getting more familiar with it. But even myself and a lot of people in chat have said, it's kind of hit or miss. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. And I think that's the sentiment right now. Move on to the Mastiff, a shotgun that got nerfed last season, and I still believe it's very solid. I've found myself using it more than the PK just because the PK doesn't seem to hit. And it's very consistent. It's still very strong. And I think we're all very familiar with it now. So I think it's a good shotgun. Still up there. Sentinel is the next one. Sentinel has got, a new hop-up. I think its fire rate is very strong. It seems to be very easy to aim with iron sight on it as well. It is very clean. It feels good. Hits very strong. And it's very good for trick shots. B tier. Next is going to be the Flatline. There's a lot of people out there that'll put Flatline in A tier because they really love it. They praise it. They say it's super strong. Dude, I've used it. I've had some really good games. And then there's times when I really need my shots to hit. And that thing shoots cross-eyed, dude. It just misses everything. And I can have my gun pointed right at the dude and it'll miss everything. I don't know, man. I'm not a huge fan of the Flatline. It is strong and it's useful, and I'd rather have that over some other weapons, but not good enough to be A tier. Now, let's just have the pair of the Havoc and Devotion. Both are very strong when they have the turbocharger. Their hip fire, rotational speed gets really, really messed up, so that's why they're not any higher on this list, because if you can move away from them, move around the person with it, and they're firing at full speed, they can't really get to you, and it's easy to just shoot them in the back. But they are very strong when turbocharged, but they're just not that special. Next, we'll have the Alternator, who did get a little buff recently, and went from, an okay gun to another solid gun. So it is solidly in the B tier. It is a respectable weapon to use. It is very nice, feels good, easy to control. If Disruptor rounds ever made a comeback, this would be a nice time, and that would definitely push it into A tier. But for now, it is a solid B tier weapon, and I think a good, solid, respectable weapon to carry. Next is going to be the Wingman, streamer's favorite weapon, or at least PC player's favorite weapon. Wingman is sort of like the PK, extremely hit or miss. If you're good with it, you're good. If you're bad with it, you're bad. B tier. A is for apples, and also the A tier is what we're currently at. So let's start off quickly with EVA 8, the clappers. EVA 8 is my favorite shotgun right now. It seems I have a great rhythm with it. It hits when I need to. It is very clutch, and it feels really good. Does the damage that I need to. Doesn't take a long time between, shots. And it's just a good rhythm shotgun, and I find myself really loving it. I think it's great. And yeah, I think it's the best shotgun right now in the game. Next, we'll go to the G7. G7 has always been very good at long to medium range. Hip fire is also not bad, and it still hits hard. So if you need a longer range weapon to put pressure on people, G7 is always going to be great. Volt SMG has been amazing since it's been launched. It is consistent, does a lot of damage, not that hard to control, and is very much a substitute to the R9. And now, while we're talking about the R9, let's talk about the R9 more. I think the R9 is also an A tier weapon, still hits just as hard, shoots extremely fast, so you can probably one-clip someone before they can one-clip you. And if you've mastered it with so many seasons that it's been out, it's going to be always extremely reliable, do a ton of damage, and be a mainstay in anyone's loadout. So R9, super recommendable. Definitely did not need to be in the care package, and it's great that we have it. We've been using it, and we love it. Especially I do. It's my favorite gun, guys. Next, Hemlock. Hemlock did get a few nerfs as of the last few seasons. Sure, its hip fire is not as accurate, but at long range, medium range, it is still a very powerful gun. Like, if you need a longer to mid-range weapon, the Hemlock is extremely recommendable, because if you slap a 2x bruiser, a 3x scope, it will still hit very hard. If you need to keep pressure on people, the heavy ammo does its work. So if you need a gun like that, again, I would recommend, a Scout, a Hemlock, if you need a gun that's maybe not a sniper. And now let's get to the only sniper I would probably really recommend, even though I hate it, the Charge Rifle. The Charge Rifle is the sniper of choice if you want to be putting pressure on people at really long distances, or if you want to be getting your teammates' shields up. This is the perfect sniper for that. It does a lot of damage if you can hit it. It is super annoying, will definitely frustrate the opponents, and you'll be able to really go through their meds, as well as probably be able to get your teammates' shields up and be ready for that next fight, because y'all are all going to have purples. So, Charge Rifle, the best sniper I think right now in the game. Before we get into the S tier, I want to ask just, the question of the video, which is going to be, which of these guns do you guys think I put too high, too low? Give me your opinion, your personal preference. Leave it down in the comment section. But now, let's get into the almighty S tier. S tier. Spitfire. We all know it's a good gun. It's gotten a few changes. It is still very strong. I don't think it's an impossibly broken weapon like some people do. I think it is avoidable. If you know someone has a Spitfire, try and not stand right in front of them. Try and get some cover, so you don't hear the do go right into your body. But I think it's very strong. We all know if you get a purple mag on it and you get someone out in the open, someone that's out of cover, you can mow them down. And it's very easy to just do a ton of damage, especially if you can put a bruiser on it or something of that nature. Or if you're right in someone's gut, you're going to knock them. So Spitfire is always going to be very good, and it is a good choice. Though its downfall is that it does shoot a little slow, so if someone does get in your face and you're not shooting first, they will down you, which is why I say I don't think it's a broken weapon. But I think it is a very strong weapon, has a huge mag, does a ton of damage, so it is a great weapon. Now to the other only, but this one is the only perfect gun. and that is going to be the R301. The R301 has an amazing recoil that you can very control if you have skill and practice it enough. It does a ton of damage, especially if you get an extended mag on it, and it just feels good. It's reliable. It's always there. It has a solid hip fire, solid mid-range, solid long range, and it's just trustworthy. It's old faithful, old reliable, and I think it is just a perfect gun, and I don't think Respawn need to touch it in any way. So my S tier weapons are the Spitfire and the R301. Hope you guys enjoyed this tier list. If you did, remember to like and subscribe, and leave your comments below with anything I missed. But anyways, guys, have a great rest of your day. Remember to stop by the live stream, and I'll see you guys in the next video.